Hi, I'm Trip Babbitt, and this is the 67th episode of the Effective Executive podcast and YouTube channel. And this week I wanted to talk about advocating for the customer. Now, I'm someone who's traveled over 2 million miles on airplanes in my lifetime, and one of the biggest complaints that you would get on an airline was the seats. Now, with having traveled so many miles, obviously had status on airlines and hotels and things of that sort. But this is kind of all changed now. People aren't as worried about the seats as they are with the masks they have to wear on a flight, and so this has changed over time, and the number of complaints from 2019 and before were about 25,000 per year. Now it's 100,000 starting in 2020. And, the incidents of unruly passengers through November of this year has been right at 5,000 through the end of November. And roughly 4,000 of the incidents are associated with wearing masks. Now, it's federal law. The airlines have to do it. But the interesting thing that came out this week was there were a couple CEOs that were on in D.C. testifying in front of a committee, and it so happened that Doug Parker from American Airlines and Gary Kelly from Southwest both were advocating for not having masks. They questioned the use of them. I mean, they have HEPA filters. They're getting fresh air in from the outside for the cabins, and so they brought it up during the course of the testimony. Now, one thing you should know about Doug Parker and Gary Kelly is they're both retiring. So they were able to speak freely about what they felt was, a burden on their particular airlines. Now, the airlines then, after these guys testified, immediately backtracked. Now, you got to remember, airlines, they get federal money, and get bailed out, those types of things, and so they want to have an in with the government. And at least this YouTube channel and this podcast is not about that. I'll be putting some things together about those on a different spot, but advocating for the customer shouldn't be something, it isn't easy, but it shouldn't be something you have to do because you've announced your retirement. It seems ridiculous to me. And because it may be the biting the hand that feeds you, if you're in the airline industry, because you're so reliant upon the government, and God knows, I don't see a lot of advocacy for customers or airlines really even caring, other than trying to keep themselves out of the news. They are not what I would call a customer-friendly industry. Now, I was a frequent traveler. I was treated pretty well. I don't have too many complaints about that, but other things I saw would make you question. But regardless, too many companies out there today don't see the benefit of having customers like them. And it seems strange to say that, but when I go into organizations, they're either completely oblivious for the opportunities that unfold before them, because I'm listening to the phone calls and all of the different types of interactions that customers have with organizations. They instead put short-term gain above the customer. In other words, I've done previous episodes on dealing with cable companies and mobile phone companies and things of that sort, and it just seems like you got to get ready to fight if you're going to call them, because that's just the way that they're set up. We're going to reduce our costs, and we don't want to lose any money to people. So if you send in your phone and it has one thing wrong with it that we didn't tell you about, or even if it didn't, we're going to keep your phone, and it was in the small print, that type of stuff. That's this is all baloney, and all of these companies, they don't see the opportunity in front of them that if they were just advocating for, doing the right thing for a customer, how much that would reduce their ad costs. They would have to deal with fewer complaints. They'd get more references, and the list goes on and on. And this is, in essence, quality. I mean, this is the quality that you're delivering to customer, delivering them value rather than them wanting to avoid you. Because then that's when they switch. And, I've switched so many times on cable companies and mobile phones because they all stink. They're not, all of them are bad. So I'm sure most of you have experienced these types of things, but it should give you pause as an executive to take the time to understand, first of all, what you should be advocating for. And as most of my information and my advisory services are all about getting executives to listen to phone calls, all the different interactions that are going on between the customer. And you're going to find things, interactions between your customer and your company reveal places where you can advocate for the customer. So anyway, that's what I wanted to communicate this week, and I'll talk to you next week.